What if I told you that Hollywood has been hiding occult knowledge in plain sight? Not through secret handshakes, but through entire films as maps of the actual reality. What if the movie American Beauty was never about a depressed suburban dad, not even about family? What if it's a secret message about what happens when someone wakes up in a world designed to keep them asleep? A symbolic crucifixion story dressed up in IKEA furniture and teenage fantasy. Let me show you why. Lester Burnham is you, or at least a version of you that starts to notice something feels off. At the beginning, he's dead inside. Everything about his life is a performance. He goes through the motions, smiles on cue, eats when told, a walking corpse. But then something cracks. It doesn't matter if it's a crush on a young woman or a plastic bag in the wind, something pierces the illusion, and suddenly he remembers himself. If you know what this means, you understand what the hell I'm on about. His moment was messy. He rebels, he regresses, he makes mistakes. Awakening is messy. It's meant to be. Now look at this rose. They're everywhere in this movie. Well, that's no accident. The red rose is the oldest bait in the human psyche. Lust, glory, perfection, it's what the ego clings to. Angela is the rose in bloom. Beautiful, dangerous, unattainable. At first, Lester is trapped in the fantasy, but then he sees her, really sees her for what she is, just a scared girl. And when Lester chooses to protect her instead of consuming her, that's the moment he transcends. Now, in comes Ricky Fitz. And let's get something straight. He isn't weird. He's who you could be, if you are fully awake and strategically silent about it. Ricky isn't escaping reality, he navigates it. He sees beauty where others see trash, he's calm when others are panicking, he watches without flinching. But most importantly, to survive in a world of sleep, he plays along. He's the ultimate alchemist, not because he transcends the world, but because he moves through it unseen. Where Lester wakes up and reacts, Ricky wakes up and adapts. He says what he needs to say to survive, plays the part, nods along, tells his father what he wants to hear. That's not cowardice, it's camouflage, because Ricky knows, when you live among the sleepwalkers, the worst thing you can do is shine. So maybe his name was never accidental. Ricky fits. Well, because he does. He fits into the society, into the machinery, strategically.
Sometimes there's so much beauty in the world. I feel like I can't take it.
I particularly like the symbolism behind the camera he carries around. It isn't just a hobby. He films everything, not to control, not to possess, but to witness. The plastic bag scene isn't about beauty in the conventional sense, it's about presence, awareness without judgment. Ricky is what happens when someone fully lets go and lives without armor. But, unlike Lester, he doesn't shed his armor in public, he wears a mask with full awareness of what's behind it. And people hate him for it, because nothing disturbs the illusion like someone who's mastered it and no longer needs it.
Sometimes I think I've felt everything I'm ever gonna feel.
So now, let's talk about Colonel Fitz, his father. Every awakening has resistance, and sometimes that resistance has a gun. Colonel Fitz is the shadow, the terrified ego, rigid, hiding behind authority and control. He senses what Lester is becoming and he hates it, because he can't do it himself. When he kisses Lester, it's not desire, it's the soul screaming through the cracks. But then, he kills him, because the ego would rather destroy truth than face it. Lester doesn't die because he's a bad husband or a confused man. He dies because he left the script. And in a world addicted to the script, awakening is treason. Now this is ancient. It's Prometheus bringing fire, Odin hanging on the tree, Joan of Arc burned for visions. That's the real message hiding in American Beauty that no one talks about. The pattern is always the same. The soul awakens and the collective ego panics. It must eliminate the glitch, seal the crack, restore the illusion. What happens inside a person when they begin to awaken is exactly what happens in a society. The ego isn't just a voice in your head. It's a structure inside you and around you, just like the structures and institutions in a society. And when someone threatens these structures, even by simply seeing through them, the system instinctively sees it as a threat. Think of the Matrix, when the awakened glitch the simulation and the agents come swarming. Think of Jesus, not rejected for what he did, but for what he revealed. Think of Socrates, condemned for asking the wrong questions. Carl Jung once said, "The reason most people resist enlightenment is not because it's painful to grow, but because it exposes everything false that they've built their lives on." Lester's death isn't random. It's a psychic reflex, a collective immune response. When the ego can't suppress awakening, it turns to crucifixion. So here it is. When someone wakes up, those still sleeping will seek their destruction. Not because they're evil, but because they're terrified.
I guess I could be pretty pissed off about what happened to me. But it's hard to stay mad when there's so much beauty in the world. You have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But don't worry. You will someday.
That line is not sentimental. It's liberation. That's the moment Lester becomes whole. Not by fixing his life, but by releasing the need to. That's real freedom, not wanting money or power or pleasure. Just seeing clearly and being at peace. Just to be clear though, this isn't a death cult. I'm not saying you have to die to awaken. That's the final step most miss. Freedom isn't running away, it's standing still, without fear. So, here it is. American Beauty isn't a movie, it's a mirror, a guide. It shows us what it means to wake up, and what can happen when you do if you're not smart about it. Here's what it teaches. Waking up feels crazy, because the world is crazy. Those who know will always feel alone at first. The system doesn't fear rebellion, it fears awareness. Real power is quiet. It doesn't shout, it sees. You don't escape the dream by fighting it, but by integrating it. So, the next time you rewatch American Beauty, ask yourself, who am I in this story? The one who performs? The one who sees? The one who fears? Or maybe the one who's just beginning to wake up? Because there's so much beauty in the world, but only for those who've died before dying.